What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? Happy Sunday. I think, shout out, Lord, this is the fourth time I've been live today. Let me see. One, two, three. Yeah, it's about fourth time. So let me address keeping it. Is it keeping it real with Malik? Hold on, let me scroll back up. Yeah, keeping it 100 with Malik. Yeah, I did. I do remember that I did block you. I didn't know you were playing. I listen, in these days and times, I just can't play around with it. We get a lot of people that come in and they say that kind of stuff. So, if you want to be unblocked, I'll unblock you. If you don't want to be unblocked, I'll understand. If you're like, I was just joking and you blocked me. But if you want me to unblock you, I will. I just don't, I'm gonna be honest with you. In these days and times, I don't have the energy for that. For the, oh, I'm just playing. I didn't, I thought you were serious and I just don't want that energy around me. So, but again, I'll unblock you if you want me to. If you don't, I understand. So let's get into this reunion. I honestly, I just really, I feel like they do stuff to just drag it out to make it a 3-part reunion. The first part, I understood why they did it. We had a scene with Wendy and Eddie after the arrest, them talking to each other. It was very emotional. They were crying. They were talking about the kids and that kind of thing. Do I feel like we needed that scene? I feel like people wanted that scene. I think that's one of those things where I'm sorry, hold on. Where is it? It's got me streaming on another channel. What other channel am I on? What channel is this? Hold on, y'all. Why am I on Ebby Reviews Live? Why? How the hell am I on Ebby Reviews channel? Oh, I know why. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. Last night I gave them the wrong link, so Ebby was on this channel. Okay, I was like, why are we on 2 channels? So, so I understand. I kind of understand why they did it. You know what I mean? Now, after that scene, honestly, the next probably 7 minutes was just wasted space. Like, I really wish we would stop with them getting their makeup done, them having conversations backstage. It's just, I don't know. I just don't care. We saw them coming out one by one. Baby, did you see? I will say this. Did you see Giselle's face when Andy told her she was the first chair? Baby, he was like, you sitting next to Wendy. She was like, what, I'm supposed to hold her hand or something? Oh, Giselle, you didn't get your first chair. Oh. Now that I did love. That scene made it easier for Wendy to come out. Yeah, like I said, I understand why they did it. So the ladies come out, blah, 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 blah. We start off with Wendy, which, let's be honest, we needed to. It was the elephant in the room, like Andy said. We needed to go ahead and address it. We need to go ahead and talk about it. And here's what I love that Wendy did. Wendy was able to talk about a lot of it without getting into the minutia, right? Which is different from we've seen other people, Karen, Jen Shaw, who are like, well, this is a legal matter. I can't talk about it. It's a legal matter. I can't talk about it. It's a legal matter. I can't talk about it. You see how Wendy didn't talk about anything specific to the case, but Wendy let us know how she felt. She let us know what happened when the police came. Hey, I was asleep. Eddie came and tapped me on my shoulder. We had to call my mom. She talked about the kids, how the daughter didn't know what was going on, but the oldest son did. Like, I love how Wendy was able to give us that moment, but still not talk about the case. Because honestly, you're on a reality show. This happened while you were filming a reality show. I know it's easy for people to be like, it's not our business. It's not our business. It's not our business. But let's call a thing a thing. You're filming a show and we want to know. And we all understand that when you are in the process of a legal case, you can't give us all of the details, but you can give us something. And so I can appreciate that Wendy gave something. And I think it's realistic to say, look, my oldest son is old enough to open up his phone, and it was everywhere. It was everywhere. What I did not like, what I did not like was how they tried to make light of the situation. When they were talking about, Giselle was like, oh, is that why your wig was tilted to the side? First of all, I didn't think Wendy's wig looked that bad in her mugshot, but maybe it's me. Second of all, then they were asking about her smiling and stuff. And she said the person taking her picture was joking with her, trying to make her smile. What we're not gonna do is act like everybody in that police precinct didn't know who the two of them were. We're not going to sit and act like they treated them like regular smegular people coming through there. So the guy probably was joking with her. The guy probably was saying stuff like, this is going to be on the news, or the girl, whoever took her pictures, this is going to be all over the place. You might want to smile. You don't want to get them no ugly mugshot. The person probably was joking with her a little bit to lighten up the mood. You know what I'm saying? So for them to be like, well, why were you smiling? I mean, you were smiling like you were. No, listen. It's just right. Giselle was like, "Is that your napping wig?" Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. So that pissed me off. And then later on, I'm going to go ahead and just jump to it because I know I'll probably forget if I don't say it now. What also irritated me was, well, let me say this. Two things with Ashley. The first thing was, Ashley made it about her. Ashley was like, well, my biggest fear in life is going to jail. And now 2 people from this group have gone to jail. And that just scares me. Did y'all see how everybody looked at Ashley? Girl, this don't have nothing to do with you. This is not about you, ma'am. And you have 2 children. Your worst fear is going to jail. Your worst fear isn't something happening. I don't want to be morbid, but your worst fear isn't something happening to your children. Your worst fear isn't a snake bite. Like, that's your worst fear is going to jail. Girl, bye. So then later on in the episode, when they were bringing up Ashley being a mean girl and they showed the clip of her making fun of Wendy, once again, you try to flip it back on Wendy. Well, you smiled in your mugshot, so I didn't think it was real. What the fuck didn't you think was real about Wendy getting arrested and being charged with however many, I don't even remember how many charges she got, but she got like a whole indictment. What didn't you think was real, Ashley? No, you were being a fucking mean girl and you were clowning her. What you didn't think was that people were going to respond to it the way they responded to it. You thought people were going to laugh and think it was funny. You didn't think people were going to think it wasn't funny. That's what it is. Just like 16, thank you. 16 a 16 count indictment. What do you mean you didn't think it was real? Girl, bye. Just like with the whole catfish thing, I'm gonna just go ahead now because I can't with Ashley talking about something. It wasn't that serious. It wasn't that serious. And like Angel said, but you knew it was something that bothered me. So it was serious. And if you really gave a damn about us having some sort of a relationship, it was that serious. And you knew it bothered me. Again, if you're trying to be friends with somebody and you know that, let's say, I'm going to just use weight as an example. Let's say you knew that it was bothering Angel because she was postpartum. She couldn't drop them last 15 pounds and she knew it bothered her. And y'all just kept picking at that one thing. You knew that was the one thing that was going to bother her. So no, you absolutely had it. You absolutely were finding the one thing and you were picking with her on it. Giselle had the nerve to even say, you're the one that kept bringing up the catfish. No, she wasn't. Y'all were the ones that kept bringing up the catfish. Now, she kept bringing up how she felt about the fact that y'all were coming at her. And yes, she used the catfish as an example, but no, y'all kept coming up with the catfish stuff. Y'all kept making the catfish thing a thing. Let's just start there. Okay. So kudos to you, Wendy, and how you handled that. Again, I think out of the housewives that I've seen get into legal issues, I think you probably handled that the best. You gave us something as viewers, as fans. You gave us something. You gave us a glimpse into what's really going on in your life and in this, but then you didn't get into the legal part of it. And so congratulations. Again, class act the way that was handled. The next person that we get a breakdown on is Stacy. Now, let me say this, Miss Stacy. Miss Stacy. Girl, I defended you the majority of this season. Not because I didn't think you was lying about stuff, because girl. But Stacy, I can't help you. The way they broke down all of the stuff this season, the way they methodically went through all of your misspoken words, Stacy, I can't help you, girl. It looked bad. First of all, something as simple as who filed for divorce. Girl, why you couldn't just say that man filed for divorce? Which, first of all, I feel like you told us last season that he was the one that filed for divorce. I feel like you told us that last year, that he wanted the divorce and you didn't. Why you couldn't just say that? So something as simple as, yes, he filed for divorce. Girl. Then when they brought up, when Tia and Wendy, the whole, is he in town, is he out of town? I do think you brought up a valid point to say, look, I told you Timu wasn't comfortable meeting Wendy. Why would you take that back to Wendy? I could see your point in that. However, again, you had so much smoke for Tia. Like Tia, I mean, yes, Tia carried the bone, but girl, you act like Tia, like, again, the smoke you gave Tia, not even close to the smoke you gave Ashley, and Ashley did way worse to you. What were the other lies they brought up? The Chris Samuels, which looks like Monique got a receipt about that next week. So we'll wait till Monique bring her receipt. It was something else they brought up that I was like, damn, I mean, the cannabis line. I told y'all, I agree with what Giselle said. All you had to say was, listen. All she had to say was, look, Giselle, I'm in the process of, I'm looking at a lot of business opportunities, and cannabis may or may not be one of them, but I can't really speak on that right now because it's too early in the conversation. Girl, if you had said that, it really would have shut everybody up. But you sat there point blank and said, no, it's a lie. Stacy said she filed for divorce, but remember when they showed it, Stacy was the defendant, Timu was the plaintiff, which means that Timu was the one that filed for divorce. They showed, did you see that when they showed the screenshot from her divorce? He was the plaintiff, she was the defendant, which means that he filed. So like something as simple as, girl, you didn't have to lie and say you were the one that filed for divorce when the paperwork is clear about who filed for divorce. And even if it's a situation, remember last year when Ralph and Drew filed for divorce, like within 15 minutes of each other, like they were racing to the courthouse to see who would file first. Even if it was a situation like that, girl, that's all you had to say. All you had to say was, well, we filed on the same day, but technically his went in first, but we filed on the same day. Like, again, the way you choose to answer things, Stacy, makes stuff look so much worse when you could use a word, because you're good at a word salad. You just use the wrong ingredients. Your word salad could just have easily have been, technically Timu was the plaintiff, but we filed on the same day, so it is what it is. Like, you could have done something like that, but I don't know. It just, the TJ thing, you could have just as easily have blown the TJ thing out the water and said, well, you guys said that he was suing me. You guys said you saw paperwork where he was suing me. Where's the lawsuit? That's what I would have said. When they brought that up about, well, we ran into an actress in California who showed us the proof and he's suing you. All I would have said is, where's the lawsuit? I would have said people can say a whole lot. People can claim a whole lot, but he never filed any paperwork. We haven't heard from TJ. TJ hasn't said anything. Where's the lawsuit? Because the reality of the situation is, even if TJ got the goods on you at the time of y'all filming this reunion, he hadn't filed shit. You could have said it. He wouldn't have seen it until tonight. Which means that it wouldn't have been shit he could do about it to change the narrative about that. That's what I would have said. They said they saw proof that TJ right, but remember TJ said he was suing. All I'm saying is you're right. All that they said they saw proof of it, but what I would have said if I were Stacy, I would have said, well, all of this proof that everybody claims they have, nobody sued me. I haven't heard from TJ. The last we heard from TJ, he was dropping his receipts, right? The last we heard from TJ, he was suing me, right? Where's the lawsuit? Who's heard from TJ? Have you talked to, I would have turned right to Stacy, right to Ashley, who was sitting next to me and said, have you talked back to this actress? Where's TJ? Did he file the paperwork yet? Because I haven't been served. See, that's how I would have done it. I done threw it back at him. Okay, so you saw all of this proof. Where is it? He never dropped the receipts. Nobody has seen this. And I would have said, and this is exactly what I'd have said. I would have said, well, this imaginary actress whose name you won't reveal shows you this imaginary proof that no one else has seen. If the proof exists, he said he was dropping receipts. He never dropped anything. See, that's how I would have thrown it at him. And then all they could have said was, well, we saw it. Okay. Because I would have said the imaginary paperwork. Oh, okay. Because nobody's seen it but the two of y'all. That's what I'd have said. No one's seen it but the two of y'all. And nobody's seen nothing. And again, I'm not saying Stacy isn't lying. Let's be clear. TJ may very well be telling the truth. But what I'm saying is that bullshit receipt that they dropped, that don't prove nothing to me. And we ain't heard from TJ. That's all I'm saying. But moving right along. But yeah, honestly though, Stacy, this whole package in all reality doesn't really help you. But I definitely feel like you'll get another season if you want to come back, Stacy. You have solidified your season. You have solidified your seat for next year if you want it. Because at the end of the day, Stacy makes good TV and people love Stacy, even in her lying, right? Somebody asked me, I think last week we were talking about the difference between Mia and Stacy, because we know Mia was a liar too, but Stacy is just more likable. People like Stacy. And even for the people who don't like Stacy, that's cool. Everybody has friends and foes. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a fan and everybody's got an anti. But for the most part, Stacy is a fan favorite. People like her. You know, she made Vanity Fair's top list. Like, she's done these things. She's got her job for next year. Now, what she does with it, you know, what storyline we get next season from Stacy, I don't know. But Stacy has definitely solidified her storyline. You know what I mean? Stacy is entertaining, right? Stacy lies about silly stuff. That's been my issue with her all season. Stuff that's easy to prove, and it's over stuff that doesn't make sense, right? And like, I think somebody wanted what, I don't know if it was Andy or somebody said, and the stuff that they mad about don't have nothing to do with Ashley or Giselle. Like, y'all are really mad about Stacy over stuff that don't have nothing to do with either one of y'all. But I definitely understand why it was brought up. And I mean, look, Stacy is Stacy. Mia would lie about children's paternity. Stacy lied about her husband being out of town. Right. And I think that's true too. The severity of the lie makes a difference as well. The severity of a lie. That's true. I mean, Mia was out here lying about having cancer and all of that. Wow. Mia was lying about, opening up a cannabis line. And my thing too about the cannabis line, her and Wendy are besties now. I can't be more mad about it than Wendy is. Her and Wendy are like cool as heck. Like they're like friends right now. I can't be more mad about the cannabis line than Wendy is. I mean, I think a lot of them are jealous of Stacy's popularity. And you saw where Andy gave Stacy a little bit of a warning and letting her know, look, sometimes these housewives have gotten a lot of attention and then they get the big head. You see where he kind of gave her a little bit of a warning. And then this whole thing with Tia and the accent, I do think that was silly. Why are we questioning Tia's accent? Like, she grew up in the UK. She has a fucking accent. Like, stop it. And to be perfectly honest, Giselle, I think that's what you were just saying, CJ Handy. Giselle, you lying about people's husbands, putting you in an uncomfortable position where you felt threatened sexually. Like, we're not even going to compare the lies. We're not even going to compare the lies. But okay, moving right along. Not Andy just doesn't want another Nene to outshine him. Next, we have Angel. Angel has purchased a home in Potomac. And again, here go Ashley. Now, y'all spent the whole time acting like that Angel was just on the show, just that she moved to Maryland just to be on the show. Now that she says she done bought her a house in Potomac, here go Ashley. Is it on 35 acres? Girl, how many acres is your house sitting on? Angel was like, no, it's on quite a few. But if you actually lived in Potomac, you would know. Which tells me Angel bought a house in Potomac. So if Angel comes back next season, her and Karen are the only two that actually live in Potomac. Hello? None of the rest of these women live in Potomac. Ashley don't even live in Maryland. She live in Virginia. At least the rest of the women live in Maryland. Anyway. I agree, CJ Handy. I agree that Stacy didn't need to tell them about the cannabis, but what I do feel like is there was a way for her to answer the question without flat out acting like Giselle was lying. Giselle clearly Giselle had some inside information from somebody. Clearly Giselle wasn't lying. Now, I can agree that until the ink is dry on the contracts, you can't be telling stuff. She probably couldn't talk about it, to be fair. And it probably caught her off guard that Giselle even knew, if I'm being honest. Because if you look back at the reunion, Stacy's face was like, how the fuck do you know that? Like, her face really was like... So I think she was shocked that Giselle even knew. But again, how is a baby bridge troll pocket watching everybody? She needs to worry if Michael is... Oh, Lord. Golly. Oh, wow. Give me shelter. Not on the diaper Dawn list. Wow. Okay. Now Gabor got you giving Tia the side eye. Child, you know that Gabor. That's my boo. So then Angel, they get to talking about basically Angel. And here's what I'm going to say, Angel. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you should have had this smoke during the season. Because I think sometimes in the moment, you don't have all the information. What we do know is when things happen in the moment, you're in the moment. You don't know conversations that were taking place when you weren't there. You don't know what people said in their confessional. So it's easy to have smoke on the backside when in the moment it was one way. I do appreciate that she did apologize to Wendy. Although I think Wendy was right. Wendy was like, okay, I hear your apology, but at the end of the day, even when people were trying to tell you that you were mad at the wrong person, you didn't even want to hear what they had to say because you were so focused on wanting it to be me. You wanted to put that energy in my direction. You didn't even want to acknowledge that it could be Giselle. So even when people were trying to tell you in the moment, Wendy didn't say it. Wendy didn't say it. Wendy didn't say it. You still wanted to be mad at Wendy. Now, I'm going to be honest. I told you guys, Angel dropped those text messages, which I think, in my opinion, explains why Angel had smoke for Wendy. Because at the end of the day, you and Wendy knew each other outside of this show. And I think you were upset with Wendy. Keeping it 100 with Malik. You must not have been here at the beginning of the video. I did acknowledge it. I'll unblock you. I'll unblock you. And again, you know, if I pulled the trigger a little too fast, I apologize. But I just don't. I have a very low tolerance for that because for me, there's no gray area. So when you said, you know, what you said, I was just like, all right, that's it. So I will unblock you. And again, I apologize if you were just joking and I took it too serious. My apologies. But I'll unblock you. I'll unblock you. Yeah, you didn't get. Yeah, well, she didn't drop him at the reunion. She dropped him a couple of weeks ago on her Instagram, where she showed where Wendy's sister. Well, her sister actually helped Wendy get a job, and let me get my words together. Angel's sister, who she filmed that scene with, she actually helped her get a job, and that's kind of why her sister had that smoke for Wendy, because it was like, so Wendy giving you a hard time, and I literally helped Wendy make money. And I actually reached out to you for you to vouch for Wendy. And so she showed those text messages where her and her sister were talking about, and it was something along the lines of, oh, I'm thinking about, you know, getting Wendy to speak at some event that her sister was doing. And she wanted Wendy to speak. And Angel was like, no, she's cool. I don't know if I can find them. It was a while back. It was a couple of months back when Angel dropped them on her Instagram. I wouldn't even know how to find them. But yeah, I talked about it I talked about it when it happened. And I think Scotty might have did a video on it too. But yeah, Angel dropped text messages to show. So when Wendy was like, I mean, yeah, I knew her in college, but I didn't know her. Well, come to find out, you kind of do. And so I think, in my opinion, I think that's why Angel may have had a little bit more energy for Wendy, because it was kind of like, well, damn, girl. Like, you too? You're joining in. So I think she might have been a little bit more hurt from Wendy, because they do have a relationship. I'm not saying they're friends. I'm not even saying they're best friends, but they have a relationship that existed before the show. So I think it's kind of like, damn, you joining in? Like, I thought me and you was cool. I mean, I thought you might even have my back a little bit, but damn, you part of it? I think that's kind of what it is. So again, that's just my opinion. But I do feel like Angel did a decent job of sort of defending herself a little bit. You know what I mean? I think she did a decent job. I just think, do I think they're going to give Angel another season? Maybe. I think the fans, for the most part, the fans have kind of said, look, y'all went a little hard on Angel. Is that enough? I don't know. I don't know if that's, I've been telling y'all for weeks that, in my opinion, I don't think both of them need to come back. I think either Angel comes back or KK comes back. I do not think both of them need to come back. Speaking of which, baby, did y'all see the way KK was talking to Angel? Angel. See, it seems like that's just who you are. It seems like you're just a wimp of a person and you don't stand up for yourself. Did you see when Angel was trying to talk to Wendy and KK was talking, and Wendy even said, I was talking to Angel. Like Angel, they were talking about the whole chin check thing. And Angel was trying to respond to Wendy. And KK was talking. And Wendy was like, no, she was talking first. And KK was like, well, I'm talking now. And Angel was like, well, let me just respond to Wendy. And she was like, when I'm done. Yeah, I think she's just a passive person, which makes me feel like this might not be your stilo, because the women aren't going to get any nicer. I mean, I'm sorry. Let's just call a thing a thing. They're not going to get any nicer. And if the person, your biggest ally on the show, can't talk to you like you got some sense, I was like, baby, when she told her when I get done, Angel was like, I mean, Wendy was like, but I asked her the question. Like she was talking to me. Baby. That's who you need to drop, Miss Angel. Right. Candace said, I think Angel gets into her head and she's not a direct communicator, which you need on the show. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I think this is just who she is as a person. I just don't think she's a very aggressive person in real life. I just don't think that's who she is. Because the fact that she sat there and let KK talk to her like that, like, you know. And so then they were flipping to Ashley, and Andy was talking about Ashley being a mean girl. And again, we already talked about the comments that she made about Wendy, but just in general, they were, you know, Andy was trying to say, you know, basically the fans feel like, you know, you've just turned into a whole mean girl this season, and Ashley is not receiving it. Ashley doesn't seem to understand what this mean girl thing is or where it's coming from, and she doesn't seem to feel like she's doing anything different than what she's always done. No, you absolutely have. And baby, when her and Wendy got into it, baby, and she said, well, you know, you always talk down to us. You always had to throw your accomplishments in our face. And Wendy said, because you ain't accomplished nothing, baby. I think she said, because you have no accomplishments. Baby, Ashley got in her feelings, didn't she? She was like, bitch, please. But she ain't telling no lies. Girl, I mean, since you've been on this show, Ashley, what have you accomplished? I mean, since you've been on this show, I mean, okay, you've become a mother twice, and that is a big accomplishment. Congratulations. That is a major accomplishment. But outside of that, girl, what have you done? You have not started. I know they keep talking about this yoga line that can't nobody. Even I believed it for a while. Even I was like, no, she's got this whole yoga line, but I ain't seen it. Where's this yoga line that Ashley allegedly has, child, that's so successful? I don't see it. We saw you had a whole restaurant that failed. Okay. GNC, GNA. What the fuck is GNA? At this point, I think GNA is just a tax write-off. Because I don't even see nothing that y'all got going on. I mean, having a float at gay pride, okay, fine. But what is it doing? What are you doing as a functioning business? Girl, bye. Not actually as a successful singer, baby. We don't want it. Return that back to sender. We don't want that. We don't want no parts of that. Okay. But that was pretty much part one of the reunion. It looks like next week we're going to have the Friends of come out. I'm assuming they're going to save Karen for part 3, that makes sense. Tomorrow night, the Whether You Like It or Not panel will be on y'all Rail's channel. And y'all know we start on time when we at the Citadel. Y'all know that it would not be 8:30-ish. It will be 8:30 on the dot. And that means if ain't nobody backstage but him and Jasmine, the clock starts at 8:30. So y'all don't be late. Don't be late. Because we're gonna be over at the Citadel at 8:30 tomorrow. You guys will get married to medicine in the morning. I'm debating. I need to take my ass to the gym in the morning, so I'm not sure what time. I'm gonna schedule it for 11 o'clock, but I'm gonna my intention is to go to the gym. I have a training session with my trainer on Tuesday, but I think I'm gonna go to the gym and get on a couple of the machines in the morning. So I'm gonna schedule it for 11, but if I change the time, that means I went to the gym and I'll do it when I get back. I'm getting ready to watch it now. So I will have already watched the episode, and then when I get up in the morning, I'm gonna do some sort of exercise in the morning. Either I'm gonna go to the gym or I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna go for a walk in my neighborhood. I'm gonna do some exercise tomorrow. Okay. With that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace.